Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Warmly welcome everybody to this panel discussion of ISKCON Finland 40 years. And in this panel discussion, we will hear about the memories and realizations and pretty much everything what our wonderful senior devotees want to share with us. I'm super honored to interview or ask these questions from these inspiring devotees who have personally inspired me a lot in this Bhakti Yoga path and many others, as we all know. So we have Ajamita Prabhu, Kalpavarga Prabhu, Shamaradika Mataji, and Gopinath Prabhu. And they say to me that I should not introduce them, they want to introduce themselves. So that's the first question. Please introduce yourself. Mataji, would you like to start?
Hare Krishna. This works? Yes. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Can you all hear this mic? Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, my name is Shyama Aradhika Devitasi. I'm 58 years old now, and I joined when I was 20 years old. And so many things have happened in my personal life and in the life of ISKCON Helsinki and in life of ISKCON International. And it's interesting to share these things here. Hare Krishna.
Hari Om. I'm Ajamita Das. I have this body already 65 years. And I joined when I was 17, 18. And I was born in the land of reindeers up in the almost in Lapland, North Finland. And my father, he used to be in the when they have the river and they transport their logs along the rivers. So he was in that group. But then the work ended in 1970. Then we moved the whole family to Finland. And that's why I joined Hare Krishna in Sweden. And that was 1977, 78, I'm not completely sure. And then I came to Finland around 81, 82, I'm not completely sure of that either. Yeah, something. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. My name is Kalpavarga, and first time I hear Hare Krishna mantra in one Hollywood movie, and I was interested what is this mantra. Then I met devotees first time 84 in Seinäjoki, and I was there in study in Kauhava, and one Saturday I went to Seinäjoki, and I met devotees there, and because I was interested before joining about some other philosophy than this Western world. Here, I was reading some Indian philosophy, karma and reincarnation. Then I met devotees and okay. So then they give my hand the Bhagavad Gita, but unfortunately I can't take it because it wasn't so much money. But then I came to Helsinki. I moved here 85. Then I met one devotee, and it was Motachi. She said, "Come to the temple." Then I came first to the temple. It was Jääkärinkatu in Christmas marathon time, and I got the first time some prasadam. It was nice. Then some times I came to Sunday program. I got some service in the kitchen, and I joined 2nd March 86. And then I was doing service there in the temple. Then first time I went outside distributing books, and it was very difficult, of course, but somehow or other it's going. In 86 also Maharaj gave Achumida that he can order me to go to altar and start altar service. It was a very special mercy. Thank you about this. And anyway, I'm also this service here today. Same service.
Hare Krishna. My name is Gopinath Das, and I'm 53 years old now. I usually think that the beginning of my kind of esoteric spiritual life starts when I was 11 years old. One time when I was walking back home from school, some interesting questions started to come in my mind, like, why am I born from these particular parents? Why am I born in this particular country? Why do I have a body of a boy? I mean, who's in charge of this? I could have been in a girl body, but I just don't know. I mean, these things, they are related to me very strongly, but I just don't know. So I was wondering about these kind of deep questions. And the amazing thing was that these questions are amazing, but nobody talks about them. Well, I wasn't able to go around and ask everybody, so I left in a car park, so to say. Then our religion class, when I was in my senior high years, school Lukio, our religion teacher took us to different religious centers, and we visited the mosque and also visited the Hare Krishna temple that time in Jääkärinkatu, the first temple in Helsinki. And actually, Achumida was giving us the introductory presentation. He was wearing this kind of saffron cloth, and the first time I saw one Finnish person wearing that kind of strange cloth with some mark on the forehead. And it was kind of more of a cultural shock as I was remembering what we went through in school religion classes about different religions. In Hinduism, there's a god who is blue in color and has 4 hands, and one other god has an elephant head. So this was a little bit beyond my understanding. But at the same time, it had some there was something pleasant also in that visit. After the presentation, I heard some rather flute music coming from the restaurant side from a distance, and I saw one Rajasthani picture of Krishna on the wall. So it made me gave me a really pleasant feeling. Well, years went by, and after finishing army service, military service, I started to study music. I went to Oulunkylä Pop Jazz Conservatory, and my mother at the same time was interested in some esoteric things. She was visiting the Theosophist's place in the Helsinki Center, and she was reading books. One particular one was like automatically channeled from another level of existence, and there were these kind of ideas of rebirth. We have been taken birth so many times in this world. So this topic now I found interesting. I was kind of remembering that my questions in the early childhood, that this is getting closer now to those questions. And then I started to follow her to visit all kinds of esoteric groups, Theosophists, Rosenkreuzist, and other kind of New Age groups. And then I saw one advertisement on the wall in the city center, and it said Hare Krishna Experience, and there was a face in the middle with big eyes and wide red smile. That was called Chakanath. So, and at the same time, there was an article about Indian vegetarian cooking in Helsinki Sanomat. A big article about the head cook at that time of Hare Krishna temple, giving some recipes and talking something about the Indian cooking tradition. So this kind of locked together. I was thinking, oh, they are advertising themselves like this, so probably they want that people go there. So I dared to go to Hare Krishna temple. It was in a different location in Ruoholahden Katu that time, and it happened that it was in a separate building inside a block, and there was a gate on Main Street. So I went to the gate and I saw the buzzer next to the gate, and I was still wondering, do I dare to go there or not? And at the same time, some two young girls, they came from the opposite side, and they were also going to the Sunday feast. They were some senior high level students making preparing some kind of presentation about the Hare Krishna movement in their school. So they saw me standing there and they were asking, are you going to the temple? So I couldn't say no at that point. So they pressed the buzzer and the gate opened, and I had to follow them. And then the Sunday, that was the Sunday feast program. First there was one brahmachari devotee greeting me very happily, Karna Madmacha, those who know him. And he started to talk to me. He took me through the temple room to the other side, to the library, and showed some books. And then the conch shell blew. We all rushed to the temple room. And then the altars opened, and everybody was praying obeisances flat on the ground. I was in a state of shock. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't stand. I couldn't bow down fully. So I kneeled myself a little bit, so I would be in a low platform. Then there was the kirtan class and the prasadam. I sat together with the temple president that time, Parampara Prabhu, and he was talking to me about, he was asking who I was, what I do. It appeared that because I was a music student, um, his wife was the head cook and sister of one very famous drummer in Finland. So there was a kind of a connection there. And then he asked me, "What do you think about the food?" So I was amazed about the food, prasadam, and that Indian style vegetarian food preparation. And I have to say that I never experienced anything more amazing food stuff in my life. So I became a regular visitor to the temple. This was springtime 1994. So then I started to chant japa in the same year in June finally. And that turned my world value system upside down totally. The things I was interested before, they lost their importance to me. And I actually tried to start the next semester at the music school, but it took maybe 1 month or two, and then I couldn't continue it anymore. But I wasn't still ready to move to the temple, so I dropped out of school. I had like 1 year left. I dropped out of school and went to work some menial job to think things over. But then finally, 1995, I was 24 years old at that time. I joined the temple for traveling Sankirtan. We went up to the north to Lapland to prepare for Krishna Janmashtami festival. There was a Krishna Janmashtami book distribution marathon, so I joined the devotees up in the north. So after that, I have more or less been active in Krishna conscious lifestyle, as I found it's very practical and uplifting at the same time. And I still play bass guitar. I'm usually invited globally to some kirtan festivals in different places, especially yearly I go to Dubai. There's a Kirtan Rasa festival in early December, so I have developed a relationship with those devotees there, so they invite me yearly to that festival. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, the devotees, for sharing more about your life. Prabhu, you mentioned already something about the japa and something about the kirtan. What you can say during the life, there can be different ashrams, different services, but something that stays all the time is the chanting of the holy name, chanting of the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. We would like to hear that. What are your realizations or something that you want to share? How Maha Mantra has affected to your life, or some of your reflections? Please share with us. Who wants to start?
Maybe I start quickly and then pass the microphone. Well, I don't claim to be very deeply have a very deep realizations about chanting the Maha Mantra, but it's still there after 30 years. Like we say that you'll never get tired. It's like after 30 years, it feels like home. You know, it's the best stress reliever against the panics created by material miseries. Yeah, that's about it.
My realization was that what I said before, I was interested about Maha Mantra. When I joined, then immediately I started chanting 16 rounds, and this was helpful, helping me realize what is this spiritual life. and it's giving more and more understanding what is in Prabhupada's books, what he gave us. It is very most important thing is this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. So when I joined in Sweden, then there was one Prabhupada disciple, Raivat. He was the Bhakta leader because there was temple resident, temple commander, and also Bhakta leader who took care of all the newcomers to Krishna consciousness. So he usually took new devotees and put them on Sankirtan quite soon, like within 2 months or 3 months. So then I was quite soon in the street distributing Prabhupada's books. Of course, in the first days, I couldn't distribute almost nothing. It was just impossible because these transcendental books, and in material sense, people don't really want these books. But then, of course, we had, thanks to the Bhakta leader, we had good sadhana and the chanting of the japa. So this gave like a backbone to one's consciousness, so that then one has Shakti and trust and prayer, and in this way, really people start to take the books when one distribute them, so the mercy starts to go out. So gradually one could go and distribute like 20 books a day, 50 books a day, on Prabhupada marathons, even more than 50 books a day, possible. Because one is used by the Lord to spread the message of Krishna consciousness. Like this. So that is my realization that those days, because I have been distributing books so many years in my past, so the days when I do good sadhana and really concentrate on doing all my rounds of japa before I go distribute, and it's a good day of distribution, even though maybe sometimes nobody takes any books. I remember one day in Gothenburg in Sweden, I was distributing long hours, but I didn't distribute maybe 1 or 2 books. But I was very blissful, so I had to be painful in my jaws because of the smiling. But it was so auspicious. So, like that. Hare Krishna.
Nice to hear your realization. So we have like this personal piece. So we have this piece, we call it japa. This is like personal meditation, like saying aloud, but not like shouting. We say this Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. And then we have here, which maybe you are more familiar, we have singing, we call it kirtan. We glorify the Lord by singing the same mantra. So they're like both. Sometimes people say that it's easier to concentrate. Devotees even say it's easier to concentrate while singing, the melody. And I know that I am so conditioned that when I go to airplane, because I'm afraid of flying, I chant very good rounds when I'm flying because I'm sure that this plane probably falls. And it gives me realization, oh, I'm not this body, and it's actually very good. But it can at its best, this personal japa, it's very uplifting and purifying, and like there is both material and spiritual benefits. Like Gopinath mentioned, it's the best stress reliever. I wonder what kind of life I would have led if I didn't take up this chanting. Sorry, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, devotees. Next, we'd like to hear about the best memory that you would like to share with us. And then, yeah, please.
So best memory, of course, that's what I said in Gothenburg was one of the nicer ones. And I remember one day, that's also in Sweden, but there was a Prabhupada marathon, Christmas marathon. We were distributing books in South Sweden. We had a group of many devotees, Kusuda Dulavitska, and we were all disciples of Hare Krishna Swami. And then one morning, the Sankirtan leader, he had a telephone conversation with Hare Krishna Swami, who was in Korsnäs Gård near Radakund at that time, outside Stockholm, Sweden, our place there. And then he got us all very big quotas how much we should distribute Srila Prabhupada's books that day. The town was Borås. It's an industrial town with the cloth industry mainly. So it was kind of a workers' town. But in any case, all of us got quotas of much over 100 books to distribute that day. So that was early in the morning. And we went out already 7, 8 o'clock, and I had a quota 140 books, if I remember correct. And so I was running around trying to distribute the books, and everybody else also from our group. And some even had quota of 180 books. But then when the clock was like 7, 8 in the evening, then we found out we had done our quotas. It was really amazing how people took so much books. So that was one of the nicer memories. And of course, in Finland, Smita Krishna Maharaj, he was not Maharaj at that time. He came with us distributing books, and then there's a town near south of Tampere or something, Valkeakoski, which is a paper industry town. So that was also Prabhupada Marathon time, and then we distributed in that town, and somehow I distributed more than 100 books in that town. It's really amazing also. And yeah.
I have also some nice experience about book distribution. I was distributing books in Mäntsälä, and it wasn't not so many books went there, but there was one old man. I saw that there is a game very slowly. I think that I must distribute to this man book or more. Then it came there 50 minutes, it's very slowly. And he came and I gave the book to his hand and said something that I'm a monk and there is some spiritual things. Then he looked his books and took the money and gave the money, and I was a little surprised that I was thinking that this old man never take the book, but he took. It was Krishna's mercy. Then he went away, and after 1 minute, then I start looking where this man went, but I didn't find. I don't know what is going on, but he got the mercy. There were so many similar experiences. We also distributed so much this prasadam, and there are sometimes people take so much prasadam that also comes some surprise what is going on, and it's very good. Even such men or women take prasadam that it looks like they have no money or whatever, but they have some money and I give to Prasadam and then they give to some donation and they comes very happy. Very good.
My best memories, I already mentioned about my japa experience. First time I was chanting the Maha Mantra. The word mantra comes from two words, manaha and trayate. Manaha means the mind, and trayate to deliver the mind from material consciousness and connected with the Supreme Lord. So I remember very fondly my ashram years. I was staying in Brahmacharya ashram for 5 years, living very simply engaged in preaching work. And that was simple life, and practically the only main thing was when you were chanting your japa. And I've had many wonderful moments in chanting of japa. And more recent experiences, I'm actually in charge of the samskara ceremonies here. I do yagyas or homa sacrifices. And just last winter season, I was staying in Mayapur and I took a 6 weeks course on yagyas, and we had to learn quite a few mantras by heart. So it was a constant practice of we learned by heart the Purusha Sukta prayers, Shri Sukta prayers, and Kusakandika, the basic structure of the yagya ceremony. So that kind of mantra chanting has always been very. I've been very fond of that activity. I also have some experience on the street. I didn't come very good in book distribution, maybe because of my introvert nature. I wasn't so nicely able to approach people, but I became very steady with prasadam distribution. So I always felt that activity as very uplifting, especially when I was always telling the truth, what this is all about, explaining the power of prasadam, and trying to encourage them to support the preaching mission. Right.
This is a very hard question. I was going to tell one short, small thing, because we say that it is a joy, a festival every day when we serve Krishna. So I think the best kind of like very memorial, wonderful moments have been to chant Sankirtan, Kirtan together with devotees when everybody's absorbed and dancing. I think that's my high best experiences. It can be had, every time when there is such kirtan. Of course, many things like personal japa, sometimes when you add for a few mantras, you can maybe hear them better. And funny small thing came about before when we had big festivals, for example, Gora Purnima, we also the audience were allowed to bathe Lord Chaitanya. And there was a queue, and everybody was from the conch, pouring something on the Lord, the sacred things. There was one man who had somehow been interested in coming, like middle-aged person, to the temple. He came, but he always thought that he belongs to this skepsis, or to this group of agnostic people who are actually atheists, but he was attracted somehow. So he also wanted to partake on, he bathed the Lord, and then he made full obeisances. This is maybe 20 years ago. He made prostrated obeisances in front of the Lord. I just started to cry, when I saw this. he was always saying, I don't believe, I'm agnostic, I'm atheist, but then he was praising the Lord. That was really, it's kind of, like somebody gets some realization that who is Krishna.
Yeah, that's true. The kirtans, bhajans, japa, oftentimes it gives great pleasure when you just concentrate and take a humble attitude, trinada visunichana, and then the Lord can give some taste for the higher consciousness. So that's very much true.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear devotees. 40 years is a long time, and it shows the sacrifice that a lot of devotees have done, the lifelong service, and the joint effort that makes it happen until now. And the 40 years is tells us something that things also change during the years, and you have seen a lot of time during the 40 years in ISKCON Finland. What are those positive changes that you have noticed in ISKCON Finland? And this is one two-sided question. This is one, and second one is, what is your prediction for the next 10 years of ISKCON Finland? So after, when we have ISKCON 50-year anniversary, then we'll ask it again, how was it?
Yes, of course the beginnings were small and we were renting different temples, so it was a kind of a unsteady situation that we were renting the place and the money went to the person who was the owner of the property, and then sometimes we would have to leave the place for another one for whatever reason, either it became too small or the landlord had other plans for the building. But the great improvement is now that we have our own place. And it is a fantastic place. We could be in some cube in town with street traffic around and traffic poisons and so on. But this is a house with a great land around it also. So we can have festivals both inside and also outside when the weather allows. And that we own the place, then we control everything about it. So it's really fantastic. And we have our own place, and it's a steady sattvic situation. And so much people are also coming, more and more people are coming to our programs. Yeah, so it's fantastic. So for the next 10 years, I think the age of Kali will progress fast, and people will be losing their middle class happiness. It's already has started that the middle class is dwindling, and if people's situation in their life become more unsteady, and there's more and more insecurities in people's life in general. So this means people are starting to ask more and more questions about life existence and so on. So this is a very good situation. Like Mara said, that in Ukraine there is so many temples. Every town and village almost there is temple. And one reason is that in that Ukraine there is not really much of a middle class. People are struggling with very demoniac or very business-like society leaders who practically exploit the people for their own good, and people have to do with this kind of strangling. So therefore people understand that this material life is not very nice, and then they must easily take to Krishna consciousness. And so I'm seeing the same will be happening here, progress in that direction also here in Finland.
So we are coming to the end of the questions and answers. Yeah, that's an interesting question because I think socially things have developed quite well. Prabhupada always told us to be afraid of Maya. You know, that he said that you're not, he told his disciples, you're not enough afraid of Maya, of falling back to the Maya, the illusory energy in identifying with the body and the mind and all. So I think in the beginning, we were, 80s, at least the early 90s, quite fanatical about being afraid of Maya. So much so that when we joined, we might have told our parents, oh, I don't need you, I cannot eat the food you make because you are not chanting. Even though the mother might have learned all the tricks how to make it offerable, we said no, we cannot take it, and they were offended. This is one example how it has changed. Nowadays we respect the parents. The young devotees have been told, although they are not practicing Krishna consciousness at the right, most of the parents, still we respect them. We can offer their, food if they make it nicely and make the mother happy. And I think we were like more like a monastery in the beginning. It was like more like us and them kind of setting. Now it has become more like we try to think or include that everybody is the soul, everybody has the chance to take up this. And I think also one thing which has changed quite nicely is the attitude to the people who have become interested in Krishna, but not to that extent that they would have moved to temple, start following for regulated principles and chanting 16 rounds, but still wanting to chant some and, be attracted. I think we have developed in how to deal with those people that they don't, because, I think there was quite many who were attracted, but who, felt somehow this is too demanding religion, I can't take it up, and they have left totally. And I think one reason was that, sorry, this is a little critical, but our attitude, that we maybe felt that it's all or nothing, For example, to get initiation, you were supposed to live in the temple for 1 year. Now it has also changed. You have to somehow prove that you're sincere. I think these are very good changes, and it kind of gives us more this kind of, we don't make, I don't think sorry to say, but I think Christian Church has made quite many compromises to facilitate the mundane, hedonistic, this normal way of life, enjoying and, this is the only life, this kind of theory. So, but we haven't, done this, but still I think we have become more, how do you explain, maybe compassionate, more broad-minded, more facilitating, to different levels of people who come at even if you chant 4 rounds and you cannot follow 1 or 2 principles, you are not a demon, you can develop, and that should be respected. I think that has changed quite a lot. And of course, I miss when we joined, everybody's first seva or service or, task, as we say, was to distribute books. Like Gopinath Prabhu said, it was difficult. For some it was a little difficult. I know Shrimati Krishna Maharaj, who is not here, but he was, he couldn't come today. He was one of who was also very instrumental with Virajanta Maharaj to start Krishna consciousness. He's a Swedish Maharaj. So he said that, again, some woman a devotee is crying in the phone booth, this telephone, call boxes, because it was so difficult to do Sankirtan. So, it was nice, and the spirit was different, and we might have said it either breaks you or makes you, which is not maybe the correct philosophy, really. But I personally miss this, that it would be nice to have more book distribution, but not in that kind of forceful or fanatical way. I was very happy yesterday to see when we had Harinam, sitting Harinam in the park, Esplanade Park, there were some devotees going and distributing books in the bicycle cloth to people, and it looked really nice, like really relaxed and nice, like something like this. And about the future, I have had a dream that there will be more initiated devotees, and also, who are not initiated, but those initiated devotees could take some services in the temple, like temples, cooking and worship, who live, have their own lives, their work, and families, but do some seva in the temple. It's very purifying, and not that we have only one pujari, Kalpa Paras, but we have many people doing once a week something. And everybody who wants to come could come here very happily to chant every now and then and do some seva. And also, that to spread this idea of being able to practice Krishna consciousness in any situation, even if your spouse, man or woman, doesn't like so much Krishna. We have examples of people who will still start to practice. There is no actually external impediments for practicing and chanting. So I think we could learn more and more to encourage people in that, and take care of each other. That's also a nice development that we have in ISKCON. We have developed more this like devotee care. That we care on the emotional and psychological platform also of each other. That's important. Hare Krishna.
I have not so much more saying because they said mostly, but we can use this how to say internet distributing Krishna consciousness. 80s it wasn't possible because there was these books. Of course, books are very important. We can use many things. Distributing is Krishna consciousness. Harinam, Prasadam distribution, book distribution, and this, of course, beginning in Krishna consciousness, it was 80s. It was really difficult, but now it's little better, and in Finland it is very free. It's like a religion freedom. We can distribute it like anything. So much. And everybody can join distributing this there to others, to friends, whatever. Haribol.
Yes, I've spent a lot of time in Mayapur, West Bengal, and I've seen especially the new big temple coming up. I started to stay there longer periods of time, even before the Temple of Vedic Planetarium started. I heard it as they were banging big pillars inside the crown. I was there during that period, and now I see it being. I was actually also part of the TOVP fundraising team at one point. So I have seen that Temple of Vedic Planetarium being built up, and then there are some other. I mean, this is in a global scale. I'm talking about now. Some other progress is being made, like Shyama Radhika said that First, we were just monks and nuns living in a temple, celibate life, but then their devotees started to get married and have their own children. So the second generation, third generation is coming up already. They are also very innovative in testing their wings, how they could spread Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message to the world using their own skills. In the 60s, it was the hippies. Our target was the hippies, but nowadays it's more or less the yoga societies. When you start practice yoga, then there's mantra comes in, so there might be some developed kirtaniers going to the mantra evenings to the yoga societies and this kind of thing. And also, of course, the IT world opens opportunities for another kind of preaching. So, like I said, we would like to see new devotees coming up, living in an ashram, getting the basic training in Krishna consciousness, and then they can combine their way of life in Krishna consciousness forward, and trying to inspire others about spiritual life. Well, at least we should try to continue being out there in the public, showing ourselves, so that people may know that we exist, and therefore getting many more new people inspired about Krishna consciousness. For the first times I was coming to the temple compared to now, our Sunday feast guests have been, the number of our Sunday feast guests have been increasing, and we are breaking the records for our biggest festival, Krishna Janmashtami. Nowadays we have the facility to expand our Janmashtami festival out there on our grounds. Like last year we had 2,000 guests for the Krishna Janmashtami festival. I think that's a great progress, and we can try to continue to facilitate more and more people coming to have Krishna conscious experience. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Let us give our panelists a big round of applause. There are many devotees who could not come today, who will be part of this ISKCON 40 years, done a lot of service there. We all remember them. Some are not in this country, some are not just able to come, but we are happy that we have senior devotees here guiding us daily, and Maharaj coming after a long time and giving us a perspective of what happened in the 80s. So we all know, especially the future generation, the next generation, we know that how can we take this movement forward for the next 40 plus years. So to all the devotees who have been taking part in the Yagya of ISKCON 40 years Finland, to all of them, 3 big cheers of Haribol. Haribol! Thank you very much. And we give mic to Tavadimya Prabhu.
Okay, thank you very much, all of you. Syamaraj Mataji, Atsamida Prabhu, Kalpala Prabhu, and Gopinath Prabhu, and Kurutama Prabhu. Thank you very much. Eli kiitos paljon teille kaikille tästä kivasta paneelikeskustelusta.